What is going on, Bulls Nation? Back again for another video. Today, we're going to talk about a potential, again, player. I love doing this hypothetical, but again, I'm not like shooting for the moon here. Like, I want Joel Embiid. This is more of a realistic take on who we could get to improve our roster. And I feel like every one of us knows that the glaring weakness is the big man. Even though Lonzo, went out for going to be an extended period of time, we know that our depth when it comes to guard and wings are there. We can hold the fort when he comes back, even when Levine is out for the next 3-4 games, we'll be fine. But the glaring weakness that we do have is the slash center slash forward position. And center, I mean, we got Vooch. Yes, we do know that, but he's more of an offensive minded guy. And his backup, which is Tony Bradley, can show some flashes of decentness on defensive end and rebounding and blocking shots, but overall, is he really the solution as a backup? Now, one guy I do have in mind is Dwight Howard, and he wasn't even on my radar because I feel like the Lakers are not going to let him go. But this recent trades with Rondo, and there are reports that they are gauging interest when it comes to Dwight Howard from teams around the league. So that means he could be had, and he is making minimum. And the guys in LA, that's one of the reasons why they traded Rondo, is that to create two things, I guess, to get younger, to create a roster spot, which they use for Stanley Johnson. Now, they haven't signed Stanley Johnson, which played for the Bulls. I don't know if he actually suited up for the Bulls. I don't think he did. I know we signed him for a 10-day hardship, but he got COVID at that time as well, so I don't think he ever suited up for the Chicago Bulls per se. But Stanley Johnson, they signed him. So basically, they picked Stanley Johnson over Rondo at that point. So could the same thing be happening to Dwight Howard? And honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to that. And I know I made a video about Paul Millsap potentially could go to the Bulls because of his diminished role when it comes to Brooklyn Nets, and he's not happy about that. I don't know if there's any reports that Dwight Howard is not happy about his role in LA, but I would welcome him very much so here in Chicago. Like Billy Donovan wants to play three guards, and we're a bit small on that end. However, we're still tall because our guards are pretty lengthy and pretty big. With Lonzo, whenever he's playing, Lonzo's like 6'6", and we got Levine at 6'5", 6'6", and DeRozan at 6'7". Yes, they're three guards, but they have size. And imagine putting Vooch at the center spot and then Dwight Howard at the power forward. If we're trying to play big slash small at that area, Dwight Howard can defend. Now, on the outside against quicker power forward, that's where you utilize, Derrick Jones Jr. I don't think if there's any trade for Dwight Howard, I'm pretty sure that the Lakers wouldn't want any salary back. If there's anything, they might ask for a second rounder perhaps or a stash player. But I can almost guarantee that if they are going to let go of Dwight via trade, it's mostly to create a roster spot, meaning they wouldn't want to sign anyone. Maybe we can get a TPE, for to the Lakers, so they don't have to absorb any salary. So, or just a second rounder, like I mentioned earlier. So, but I wouldn't give up anything in a trade, at least anything valuable for Dwight or Paul Millsap at this point in their careers. I honestly, I would be hard pressed to let go of Troy Brown Jr. at this point, because I think he fits our mold perfectly. Now, if we are gonna make a big trade, I'd rather have somebody maybe long term for a power forward, maybe not even long term, but somebody younger if we are gonna give up real assets. But I feel like with Dwight Howard and Paul Millsap, for example, they're the bargain big guys that the Bulls are waiting for, where they don't really need to put out any real players or assets or draft capital to acquire those guys. I think we could get them at a pretty low cost, if almost close to nothing. And hey, let's face it, championship team, you need veterans on the team, and we do. In Vooch, in a certain extent, Levine and Caruso has a championship pedigree, but having those guys wouldn't hurt. especially Dwight Howard, that the defensive minded that he brings. And I know he's not the Dwight Howard of 2010, and I certainly I'm aware of that. But I feel like he would cover up some of the deficiencies that Vucevic might lack, and it might even elevate Vucevic's play. Imagine if he is opposite of Vuce, and we're playing like a small team. Let's say not a small, but let's say the Denver type of team where they have Jokic, and Dwight can get Jokic, for example, and then Vuce can freely roam around the outside or on the offensive end. He's not going to be worried much about blocking out and getting his own rebound while blocking out as well, because we got Dwight on the other side. Now, it might be a nightmare as well, because having those two guys with slow feet would be a disaster for a faster team. But again, that is where you kind of mix and match and maybe experiment. And it's Vooch and Devontae, and then on the sub, on the bench players, you put in Dwight Howard with DeRozan and the other guys. So there's a lot of possibilities. And like I said, at worst, maybe we'll lose Tyler Cook in this trade. So I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. So I'm excited. Hopefully this trade deadline, we might, hopefully we do address some of the glaring needs that this Bulls team has. Until then, it's fun to speculate, this kind of play GM kind of role, not just in 2K, but, seeing this. And I would say this is somewhat of a realistic take on this Bulls team. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. I would love to hear them. Is Dwight Howard, and the only thing is he a good fit on this team? Because they are worried about, messing up the chemistry of this team, this young team. So that might not be an option as well. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. If you like this content and a Bulls fan, join the nation, man. Join the nation and join me. Would love to chat to you guys about the Bulls. Talk about maybe potential trades and just hypothetical what ifs. That is always fun to have a conversation about. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.